What's up, everybody? Josh, starterandgutterbusiness.com. Today we are hanging 200 feet of gutter on a, I'm going to do it in two pieces because 200 feet's a little much, but 200 foot gutters butted together on a 200 foot roof. And we're going to show you guys how we do that with snap lock. And this is a steel building, adds another complication. Got some cool things with this one to show you guys. So I'm going to kind of give you some tips and tricks on everything. All right, so with this being this long, you can kind of see all the way down there. It's a big steel building, like I said before, 200 feet long. And so what we're going to do is use snap lock to attach this gutter to the building. And that allows, especially here in Montana, you get a lot of expansion contraction with aluminum. And the snap lock rail allows the gutter to free float. You crimp this clip onto the back of the gutter. The gutter snaps into the rail and it allows it to kind of free float in that rail and expand and contract when it needs to. And it reduces oil canning, and there's no holes through the gutter into the fascia, which is another benefit. So there's no way that water can get from the gutter into the fascia. It's just a really good system, and I've used it for a long time. So this particular building is a little bit interesting. The whole fascia's hollow, just like all these steel buildings, and they drive me nuts. But I've got a pretty good solution that I've done on quite a few places. I've probably hung a couple thousand feet this way, and they've all been holding up good. It's kind of started off as an experiment, and none of them have failed. So I'm going to show you guys how we attach to this hollow fascia. So with a gutter, what you would do if you just had like a 30 footer to hang or whatever, you just put, we use GeoCell. You put a bead of GeoCell on the back top edge of the gutter, right where your screw is going to go through from your hanger, and that pinches that sealant in between the metal and your gutter and your hanger, kind of pinches it all in there. And that sealant actually bonds the gutter to the fascia. So this is a similar situation. What we're going to do is glue this rail to the fascia, and then the gutter is going to snap into the rail. So the attachment system will be solid to the building. So first thing I kind of look for on these to make sure this is even going to work. I mean, you can see it's just hollow, same way up here. The first thing I look for is to make sure that this drip edge that I'm attaching this rail to and gutter is solid. And so you can feel back in here, and all of these front edge roofing screws are going through that drip edge, pinching it to a beam that floats back a few inches. What that tells me is that this drip edge isn't going to pull away from the building when this gutter gets some weight in it. So this building also is another cool thing to it. What we're doing is they're actually putting a water tank inside right in the middle. So we're funneling all of this roof's huge, funneling all of this water. So two 100 foot gutters, both pitching towards the center. And then we're putting a 6x6 square box downspout into a pipe that they're pumping water into the building, into a water tank to use for washing off vehicles and whatever else they need it for. So basically just a rainwater collection system. So, and we're in Big Sky, and this is, I'm sure the reason they're wanting to put it inside is just, you know, freezing issues. So they'll put heat cable in all these, keep that water flowing all winter, and drop it into that tank, and then that tank doesn't need to be heated since it's inside. So kind of a cool setup. So we'll get going here. Okay, so we got all of our rail on except for this last little piece. I got it trimmed. This stuff you do leave about a 1/4 inch gap in between each rail, just to, you know, expansion contraction. And then so how I bond this on there is just do a pretty good bead of GeoCell right in the center of the rail, and I kind of try to have that bead humped up a little bit, so when you push it on there, it kind of squishes to the top and the bottom and seals the whole thing on there. Another thing this helps with is if on these big commercial buildings is a lot of people kind of whiff on the drip edge aspect of everything. So if you have any issues with water running back and down the fascia, gluing this rail or gutter to the fascia solves that problem because you're sealed. The back of the gutter is sealed right to the fascia. I just use sheet metal screws to get this thing bonded to the drip edge. And the reason I'm going up on the drip edge on this is because this is a 5-inch drip edge. It's huge. So if I put the gutter clear down here on this big of a roof during a big storm, about half the water will shoot right over the gutter. So try to keep it fairly tight. How I like to put this stuff up is kind of the same way as a gutter. Go about 5, I skip 2 holes, or 1 hole, so go about 4 feet, and then tack it, and then just go ahead and throw a tack in the center after, because you know that's level now. And then we'll get our end. And what I do is put extra zip screws. I do extra screws in between each fastening point. This rail has pre-drilled holes in it, so I do 1 fastener in between each pre-drilled hole to make sure it gets that sealant all touching the metal and bonds that rail to the drip edge. We'll hop down to the ground. A lot of times on buildings like this, I just measure from the ground because your first gutter, so I'm butting 2 gutters, right? So to get my first measurement, I figure out where I want it to end, and I just kind of get an estimate from the ground on where to cut that thing. And then for the next one, then you measure from the roof and get an exact measurement back to the end cap of your previous gutter installed. So we'll go make the gutter. So I just got down to my trailer to start getting this first gutter run out. And with these long gutters, it helps a lot to have that machine at the right angle, so you're not like kinking it up or down over a big stretch. So what I did was unhooked the truck, and I'm gonna kind of just jack the trailer tongue down to where it's a little more level coming out of the trailer, more level with the ground. So it'll help us out in the long run, keeping it straight. Okay, so these water tanks are this is built right on a platform right in between these 2 doors. So it's kind of where I'm gonna shoot for my downspouts to be. Here we go. Normally I would bring extra stands. Forgot them. If I was smart, I would have hooked this up before I ran it out. Oh, didn't you? There it is. So this gutter was longer than my 100-foot tape, so I just went as 102.10 is the measurement. So I just marked 92.10, 10 feet short, and then just added another 10 feet with my regular tape. We got her. Don't look that bad. Got a long gutter to hang. That hill down there, he's a real steep one. I thought about getting a new bike, but I don't know. Okay, so here's our hanger spacing. We got 15 on center. It's probably a little close, but here in Big Sky, I like to do a few extras. The snap block clips, I like to just center them in between the hangers. Reason being that the gutter kind of tends to bow in the center between the hangers, so gives it kind of a solid natural lock into that rail once you get it snapped into the rail. And then Also, if you ever have to remove these, this rail is reusable. You can just leave it on the building. As long as you can get the gutter out. It's not very easy. I just use a flat bar. But that way you can slip a flat bar into that rail and tweak the rail out and pop these clips out. So if they're right in between the hangers, that way you know where they're at when you go back to the job if you have to remove them and put new ones up. And it's helpful to know that you always do it consistently in the center of the hangers, so you can pry that rail off the clips. The other thing is these crimpers they're just like end cap crimpers. They just have a little bit more shallow throat to them, and you can get them right from Snap Lock. You just do a double crimp on each one of these, and there's a little instruction pamphlet in every clip bag that tells you have to crimp them a specific way. So make sure you read the instructions. Okay, so another thing I had to modify, since we're going up on that huge drip edge, is the Snap Lock clip itself. So this has a little spacer that sits on the back of the gutter that allows the fascia to breathe normally. And this is a steel fascia, so you don't really need that anyways, but I just cut these in half. They actually sell them in halves. I just always forget to order them, and it's one of those things you kind of decide at the job. So we just went ahead and cut a bunch of these in half, put them on. That way when you're putting that gutter up, this lip doesn't catch the bottom of the drip edge and then ruin your life. It's a lot easier for the gutter to just slide right up into place. Okay, so 102 foot. We're just trying to figure out how to get this up here. Two guys, me and the cameraman. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab it, feed one end onto the taller lift to the right spot, and then hopefully we're tall enough to get the other side onto that lift. Then we should be home free. Then we'll kind of just, each of us hop in a lift, jack it up at the same time, and if everything goes well, we'll have a gutter hung here in a few minutes. There you have it, 102 footer with two guys. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys how this works. So these hangers, you have to use a hanger with a clip, so you don't put any screws through there or anything. It slides up into that rail, just like that. And this drip edge makes this really tight, so I've been having to tap it in with a board and hammer just to kind of distribute the load. But so I just use like a wider 2x6 and kind of tap it into place that way. So you can kind of see those clips disappearing, and then what you do is you can feel for them to make sure they popped into that rail. So pretty cool setup. Ooh, don't show that one. So another thing I like about Snap Lock is it kind of allows the gutter to float in that rail a little bit, and there's no like sharp kinks. Like when you're doing hangers, you can have like a stress point or something, or your screw gets sucked under a knot or something like that, you know. And this stuff, you put the rail up, which is already stiffer than the back of a gutter, and then you put this up in that, and those clips can kind of float and take up that variance in fascia, forward, backwards, and up and down, and it just like really smooths everything out. So that's another thing I really like about Snap Lock. Okay, one gutter down, next one up. Measured it out. Those doors are a little bit off center, so first one is 102.5, next one's 93, 5 1/4. 93 foot, 5 1/4, so should be a breeze. Oh shit. Okay, you kind of watch the end. So this is my state-of-the-art speed square. Apparently took my speed square out of my trailer this morning, and this is what I have to work with, a piece of a gutter. Okay, so there's our two outlets. All this water is going through. two 6-inch, I'm building two 6-inch custom square box downspouts back to the wall, and then they're having a big PVC pipe come out, and we'll adapt them together. So turned out good. Happy with it. Look at our expansion joint up here. I got a 1/4-inch gap where these gutters meet. Turned out pretty good. And what I like to do on these is, since these two can kind of move separately, just put a tack in the center of the two end caps, like a zip screw or whatever, just to kind of hold them together straight. I kind of focus on the bottoms. For some reason the tops aren't quite perfect, but the bottoms is what you'll really see. So got her all lined up, looks good. Thanks for watching, everybody. I know this was a long one, but 200 feet of gutter done. So make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what you would do different in the comments. We'll see if we can get some good conversations going. See you on the next one.